Hi guys, this is gsno.com and I'm here with the unboxing of the Sony Xperia 10 Mark II. It's been a while since the last Sony device that we reviewed and unboxed, so here we are. Now what we're dealing with here is a handset that's priced at $350 and it's a mid-range affair with some extras compared to what Samsung is offering right now. For example, it has glass at the back and glass at the front, unlike the plasticky Galaxy A models. It's a triple camera device which runs Android 10 with some customizations. Okay, so here we have the power button. I'm just going to press it, and by the way, it integrates the fingerprint scanner. I've already set up the device so we don't waste precious time. The first impression is that the handset is incredibly light for how long it is. It measures 8.2 millimeters in thickness and weighs 151 grams. Okay, so it's booting up right now. Sony Xperia 10 Mark II. It was launched in May. It's still pretty fresh and it comes with a Snapdragon 665 processor inside. Yes, we could have bet better, but in the end that CPU has received quite a few accolades on mid-range devices over the past years. Okay, it's an unboxing, so let's check out the inside of the box. So first of all, we remove this and we got a pretty big envelope which should be filled with quite a few manuals, warranty and all that. Okay, so a lot of important information here, apparently, perhaps the most I've seen with handset over the past months. Okay, so there's that. Unlike many other phones out there, particularly the Chinese ones, this mid-ranger actually has headphones. But they're rather generic, don't go expecting anything special. In some countries, the handset is actually bundled with a pair of on-ear headphones, definitely about 10 times better than these ones. Anyways, they're branded Sony, so that's got to count for something. But they're generic looking, that's my impression. Now the charger here sadly is only up to 7.5 watts from what I can read here. In some countries, some lucky people get 18-watt charger with this phone. And finally, you get a cable which goes from USB-C to USB-A. This is USB-A and this is USB-C. That's it in a nutshell. That's everything available inside the box. Now let's get to the actual handset. My first temptation is to increase the brightness, definitely, and I keep hearing that it gets notifications and makes a variety of sounds as it upgrades and so forth. I've already mentioned the measurements and I'll say it again. It feels very light in the hand and very compact. It's an elongated device and it has an aspect ratio of 21:9. In keeping with the recent trends of the Xperia lineup. Now the screen you're seeing here, well, it's an OLED, 6-inch OLED with a resolution of 2520 over 1080 pixels. I've already mentioned the CPU. It's a Qualcomm Snapdragon 665 octa-core, accompanied by 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage, which is good news, plus microSD. The battery, well, it's a 3600 mAh unit and lithium polymer and 18-watt charging. From what I remember, I've already set up the fingerprint scanner, which is here, and I would say that the recognition works reasonably fast. Okay, we're done with the battery, we're done with the fingerprint scanner. At the bottom you can find the USB-C port and a microphone. At the top you can find the audio jack and another microphone. The speaker is here in a pretty big slit, but there's no stereo here in case you were wondering. Now, the cameras. At the top side, you can see that we have a pretty large bezel compared to what people are wanting nowadays, and this one hosts an 8-megapixel shooter for the selfies. Moving on to the back side, you can find a more interesting triple camera setup with the LED flash here. So, we got a 12-megapixel main shooter with face detection autofocus. We got an 8-megapixel telephoto shooter with 2x optical zoom, that's nice, and an 8-megapixel shooter ultra-wide camera, 120 degrees for the larger sceneries, architectural wonders and so forth. The device does 4K video capture, once again has an LED flash and runs on Android 10 with a custom interface which includes this little side sense thingy which integrates quite a few shortcuts. Now back in the day where you would have tapped the sides in order to trigger it, now you can see an icon for that, luckily, and still it's a bit hit and miss. Okay, Okay, so as we show you during the unboxing, usually the camera interface is like this, and it's pretty minimalistic. It has white icons on a transparent background and hasn't changed much from the last year. Now here you can see the modes. We got the night mode, that's good news. Google Lens, slow motion, manual, portrait, selfie, creative effect, and panorama. And there's also this one here, which, if I remember correctly, should help us mess around with the exposure and white balance. So that's that. This is the Sony Xperia 10 Mark II. First impression, very narrow, very light, and it feels pretty premium after so many plastic mid-range phones. Remember the price tag of $350, which is not bad. I'm very curious about benchmarks, the CPU, GPU, screen brightness and battery. Those will be revealed in a review in the future. This is it from us. Bye bye.